those who knew. Let's pause before going any further and consider the men and women who appeared to know the answer to the question, who am I? By identifying these people more clearly, we put ourselves in a position to learn and use the practices they taught, the practices which may or may not lead us to find in our own turn the answer to this oddly baffling question. The first thing to say about these men and women is that they have appeared in many different centuries and cultures. And the second is that although the language they use to talk about this answer and about the practices that help us look into it may be different, as may be the symbols they use to express the truth that underlies the answer, nevertheless, the essence of what they are saying does not seem to change. Whether they come from the East or from the West, from highly complex or from apparently simple cultures, from centuries back or from modern times, the teachings they give us remain consistent in essentials. The science and technology of the outer world are changing rapidly, exponentially, even as I write these words. But the inner world of which these men and women talk would appear to be timeless, and the maps they have left to help us find our way within it would not appear to change. The third thing to say about these men and women is that they recognize no boundaries within the inner world. The maps they left us contain no dotted lines for frontiers, no border posts, no customs sheds, no changes in tariffs, currency, or laws. For them, there were no divisions between the three great studies of the mind that we moderns label as religion, philosophy, and psychology. For them, there was only the mind. There was no division even between conscious and unconscious, or even between sleeping and waking, between thoughts and dreams. For them, there was just an all-embracing knowing, or, since the term knowing is often now debased into mere factual knowledge, an all-embracing wisdom. We shall meet some of these men and women as we go through the book, but because our modern mind insists on placing people in categories, we recognize them best under the title of religious or spiritual teachers. In the East, they include the Buddha and many others practicing in the Buddhist tradition, and Patanjali and many others in the Hindu traditions in the Middle East. They include Rumi and others in the Sufi tradition, and the anonymous writers of the Sefer Yetzirah and the other Kabbalistic texts. And in the overlap between the Middle East and the West, they include Christ and many others working in the Christian traditions, and the mythical Hermes Trismegistus, and others working in the mystery religions and the Hermetic tradition. In less obvious ways, we can also add Pythagoras and other figures working in the Greek mystery tradition, and those practicing in the shamanic and American Indian traditions. And even then, the list is by no means complete. The unifying principle behind the work of all these men and women is that they taught practices designed to help the individual look into him or herself and find within the inner world the reality from which all existence flows, the reality which is at one and the same time our own true nature, and the creative force that brings into being and sustains the outer world.